Pairs A and B, take one. Mark.
I'm Cristi.
I'm Ben. This is our home here in Pagosa, Colorado.
We love this area for the climate, the changes of the season, the beauty of the trees and the mountains and the terrain.
It's still southern enough where it still feels a part of our southern roots, but definitely connects with our mountain soul.
Ben and I both are born and raised in Austin, Texas. You know, I felt like there was a draw to me to be there and establish ourselves there and start a business there and have kids there. And we did all of that.
Yeah, I did.
And eventually, I don't know, it's kind of cheesy to say, but, you know, the mountains started calling.
What?
Okay.
All right, hey, drop it. Ready? Go, go, go.
She got it.
Atta girl, come on.
Girls.
There's you.
You're joining us for our morning coffee here on the river, which is pretty much what we do if the weather's right, depending on the time of year. Right now is the time we bring our chairs down to the river, we have our coffee, we read, we journal, we start the day just kind of absorbing the beauty and the nature all around us.
Yeah, this is us. This is kind of why we left the big city, just to have some slower moments and some quiet moments where we can invest into ourselves and our family. This is the white space, the gentle noise of the river. This is kind of how we start our day, inspired.
I usually don't want to get up.
We stay here.
But sometimes I have to.
Yeah.
Usually, most mornings, you know, I'm kind of dragging out of bed, not Ben. He is up, he is opening the door, he's welcoming himself into the world. He just takes in a deep breath and he's like, have you breathed the air outside today? You know, usually you're asking me that. And I'm like, no, I haven't, because first I need coffee.
I think the more you're outside, the more you see around you and the more you're aware of life, whether it's in our business, with our kids, with our community.
Do you guys have like a moment that you really discovered that you were like, we're moving here?
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I mean, we walked through some hard things. My mom was diagnosed with cancer, and we walked through that with her, several remissions, and then it came back multiple times. And eventually she passed away in our home in Austin. And as I sat with her a lot of her last many days, she was really kind of reminiscing over her own dreams and just kind of wrestling with what they even really were and had she even really captured them or chased them. I think that started a stirring in me of, Cristi, quit keeping yourself in a box of where you think you should be, where you grew up here in Austin, you feel like you should stay here, you should be here, you should be doing this. And I lived in so many shoulds, and you're more the risk taker, I'm more the cautious one, but I really think it was walking through the loss of my mom that opened me up to stepping outside of my own comfort zone. And if I really, go back even more to the actual moment where we said, okay, this is it. We were on a trip on the Grand Canyon. We're totally unplugged. There's no phones, there's no service.
288 miles of the Grand Canyon.
It's like a week of, go down the river, pull off, park, sleep on the sand, go down the river, and it's, it definitely.
It was legit off the grid, remote. Definitely the moment.
I think it was at the end of that trip. I don't know what it was. Something about being unplugged that whole week, being in nature that just was like, that's it, we're just moving. It's never gonna make sense, and I think I was waiting for everything to be figured out. Sometimes it just never is. You just have to kind of step into the unknown.
Welcome to Pagosa Springs. We're walking right over the San Juan River, which runs right downtown. Right behind us is actually our house, our little barn, and the office where we do building roots from. Root design started just right after our oldest daughter was born, Adeline, and it started in the living room of our house just outside of Austin, West Austin, and grew, really just started as a landscape project. I worked for my grandmother, I think was one of our first clients.
She was your first client.
And then, one little yard after another, and then landscaping turned into pools, and then pools turned into a whole remodel.
I mean, honestly, when we moved here full-time, we didn't know, is our design business gonna transfer here okay? Are we gonna still have clients?
We definitely wanted like a deeper, richer community, and building the community that we've gotten to build here in this little 1 mile radius has given so much back to us.
Yeah, so here we are at our coffee shop, Root House. This has been a dream of ours for a while, and it's so fun to see it come to fruition. I think the most special compliment we've ever gotten is when someone told us they walked in and it felt like a warm hug, like a welcoming hug. And I thought, you know what, that's exactly what we were going for.
I have a morning routine. I walk to the coffee shop, I get my cappuccino and the smoothie, I come back to the barn and I sketch some stuff. So this was my grandfather's mechanic's desk when he was in the Air Force, and I found this in his shop after he passed and was able to kind of get it from the family and keep it. And so this is where I store a lot of my supplies, from colored pencils to the markers and all the different things. And I have 20 plus years of just work and inspiration, some of my favorite projects. A lot of this is kind of my current projects, sometimes a mood board. I've got a ton of these journals that a lot of times the sketches just kind of start in. But a lot of times after visiting the site, walking the grounds, feeling the earth beneath my feet, looking west, looking east, watching the sun rise and the sunset and the shade and the clouds, and just really kind of walking the land and feeling it. This is where I'll end up at that night and just come in and just start sketching different ideas, and inspiration hits. It's not always like a light switch where you can turn it on and off. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 nights in here. Sometimes it just takes journaling. Sometimes it takes a walk or going and throwing the fly rod for a few minutes and then coming back in here, and then eventually it'll just start to unfold and unravel. Learning to sketch really came from an experience I had with my older brother. He had a little bit of a troubled upbringing and had some accidents and spent some time in jail. And we'd go visit him, and he would draw. The guy could draw like nobody else, just self-taught, young teenager. And he would draw beautiful landscapes, just beautiful things. And so we would go visit him in jail, and we'd exchange drawings. And I would take him home, and I just remember sketching over them at night. And I would redraw them, and we'd go visit, and I'd give him mine, and he'd give me another drawing. And then later in life, when we started Root Design, it was just really neat to see this kind of artistic ability come back out that I hadn't done for years and years other than just doodling. So I really give my brother, who's not here anymore, a lot of credit. He really spent a lot of time drawing and sharing those with me. We still have them all saved. And so they're a great inspiration to what I do and why I do. So I get to sit in here surrounded by all this inspiration and just get to draw.
Everybody has a story. So many of our clients, as we get to know them and their dreams for their homes, we love hearing their story, how they see it. And then we start to kind of figure out, how do we fit into their story, and what is the story that the new home design is going to tell. Cristi's brain, take 2. All right, so the whole design process really starts more on this end of the table, from online research as well as actual books from our vendors who supply furniture, decor, and different things. Just as I'm flipping through them, I may see like, oh my gosh, I love that table or that sofa. We've got to use that somehow. So lots of times it's just a matter of flipping through, finding things that stand out to you. cutting them out, pinning them on a board, or saving them in a folder. For instance, in our own home, we're in the middle of a big construction project and we are living through it. So to divide the construction part from the living part, we have this plywood temporary wall. And just for inspiration, we turned it into our own mood board. And we have lots of our own magazine clippings, some have been sketches, design plans down there, all the different things that are reminding us what is to come. I feel like where my strength is more coming in with a lot of more of the fixed finishes, whether it's lighting or colors or tile or floors, all of those little accents that start to really warm up the space and make it feel like a home. There seems to always be some guiding force in different rooms. And so say, in this particular room, this kind of terrazzo countertop was really guiding a lot of our decisions for this kitchen. If you find that one statement thing, or say it's even a simple tile with a lot of texture, and you want to build your room around something simple like this tile would be your highlight, but you may pull out the brown in these little specks in your cabinetry. You may pull out the dark grays or blacks in some of your paint or your plumbing fixtures. But whatever that thing that makes you light up when you walk into that room, build your room around that with complementary, simple things.
We don't over-design a space. A lot of our process is really just editing, stripping away what doesn't need to belong. None of this kind of hero architecture, look at me, look at this beautiful this or that. Some of our greatest compliments are when clients don't know what to compliment because it just all flows. It's all simple, natural, humble materials that are very warm and welcoming.
We usually are very inspired by the color palette of the outdoors, whether it's the greens in the trees and the shrubs or the grays in the stones, the grays, the browns.
Yeah, so even just in these rocks, you have just these deep, dark, almost rusty red, a little bit of granite in there. Below this cream beige looking.
Subtle green in that.
Really subtle green in there.
I know there's even been times where I've even looked through your fly box.
Yeah.
And I've found a color palette
We have done that.
off your fly box.
It just kind of all starts here. Subconsciously, we take it back into our day, whether how we deal with people and just a little bit more open and aware, or how we design spaces and taking down walls and creating just more family gathering, more spots for stories to be told.
Hey, babe. Time for flies?
Let's go fishing.
You've always had this adventurous side that I was drawn to. And so I think I knew as we got married, I knew there was an adventure to be had.
Is there something more? Can we do better? Can we love better? Can we root for each other more? Never in a million years do we imagine y'all would be sitting here across from us. I mean, just where we are
And
now.
talking about the TV show and
Right,
these cameras
all
and
you
these lights and
guys
this
and-
microphone. And
Right. It's wild. And it's been a huge, incredible blessing. One of the hardest things we've ever done, no doubt, but also one of the most story-filled, authentic relationship building experiences we've ever had.
all right, Creed's gonna pull the shots. Adeline's gonna froth the milk. Get an oat milk latte going. It's a family affair.
These kids have literally helped us since day one that we took over this coffee shop and built it into the dream that it is now. They have worked probably more days than any of us. But this is where it happens, man. All of our friends, all of our family, all your friends work here. And I like my coffee from my daughter. So it's as good as it gets. Established something really great in Austin. Root Design was definitely a presence, and it was a lot, and we really pulled our kids out of, man, just a huge comfort zone. We have a life saying, vamos afuera, which is Spanish for let's go outside, and it was really kind of that was our vamos afuera
fight it. Let's go outside our everyday. Let's go outside our comfort zones. When you take that jump, when you make that leap, sometimes there's so much more.
Something about that shared experience of adventure is what really speaks to me. Just everybody coming together for the good of a story.